We all need to stay humans first. So thank you everyone who came. I hope you will enjoy this tournament.
Oleksandr Kostyliev is a professional Ukrainian esports player, better known as s1mple. At a very young age, Oleksandr achieved incredible results in his career. He is deservedly considered the best Counter-Strike player. In this video, we will tell you all about this talented gamer and his difficult path to fame. Oleksandr s1mple Kostyliev, how one of the best esports players in the world lives and how much he earns. Oleksandr Kostyliev was born on October 2, 1997 in Kiev in the family of a former military man. The esportsman has a brother, Alexei, who is 10 years older than him. Alexei had spent his early childhood in Germany, where his father was doing military service at the time. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, the Kostylievs returned to Ukraine and settled in its capital. When Oleksandr was 4 years old, his older brother introduced him to the game Counter-Strike. One of them controlled the mouse, the other the keyboard, and then they would switch. The game fascinated the boy so much that his interest grew every day. Soon he learned to open Counter-Strike by himself, where he would disappear for hours. But there was one problem. There were 2 players and only one computer. Oleksandr recalls that as a child, he was looking forward to when his brother would go to school so he could finally get on the computer. However, their parents Angelica and Oleg didn't approve of their son's hobby. They were afraid that Oleksandr would study poorly at school, so the punishment for bad grades was no computer games. However, Oleksandr was not only an excellent student at school, but also studied English, making great progress. He also spent a lot of time playing soccer. Interestingly, despite such a passion for esports, Oleksandr never planned to become a professional gamer, but dreamed of a career as a soccer player. He was an excellent student in class, but a real daredevil at recess. Oleksandr's mother said that the boy was very active and constantly fought with classmates in elementary school. She even admitted that she tried to pick her son up as late as possible so as not to meet with the parents of offended children. She was tired of hearing from them about her rowdy child. However, Oleksandr changed a lot in high school. According to his mother, he has become much more reserved and shy. In his teens, he started attending computer clubs where he and his best friend Dennis mostly played Heroes of Newerth. But on one of these evenings, there was a 2-on-2 Counter-Strike tournament at the club. Oleksandr decided to participate for fun and eventually won, receiving an expensive headset as a prize. Even though almost all the following tournaments at the club ended with a victory, Counter-Strike remained just entertainment for him. This was until the release of the new version, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. After its release in August 2012, he seriously thought about an esports career. Oleksandr started going to the Kiev esports arena, where he honed his gaming skills and watched his potential rivals closely. By that time, the family got a second computer, and with it, he got the opportunity to develop his potential. By the way, the parents became more lenient towards their son's hobby and even supported him. In 2013, 16-year-old Oleksandr began his esports career. He was offered to join a mixed team, a temporary team, in which gamers who don't know each other can play together. As part of the mixed team, Oleksandr performed under the nickname s1mple. A few weeks later, he received an offer from former teammates to take part in the ESWC Ukraine Qualifier 2013 as a rifler of the Land Dodgers team. Oleksandr agreed and managed to take 3rd place in the tournament as part of the team. A little later, s1mple won a significant for him one-on-one tournament, after which the team got sponsors and he became a celebrity not only at school but all around the city. During matches with Land Dodgers, he got noticed by Andrei Gorodensky, known as Blade, who at that time was one of the best captains. Blade invited Oleksandr to play as part of his team. Courage Gaming. s1mple's gaming career in Courage Gaming began with a victory at the Cup in Voronezh. This victory helped him announce his talent to the whole of Europe. Kostyliev showed good game results, but was an extremely toxic teammate. He was very expressive towards his team and didn't skimp on accusations when others made mistakes.
Shut up, man. He wouldn't win, man. Maybe he would go out mid and go B, you stupid. Man, you're stupid. That's why you're entire 3.
After the game, the emotions of course would die down, but the bad taste lingered. No one wanted to play on the same team with an aggressive teenager. After 2 months of conflicts, Oleksandr decided to leave Courage Gaming. However, in future interviews, he repeatedly stated that Blade had the greatest impact on his development as a player, for which he's immensely grateful. In February 2014, the International Esports Organization disqualified Kostyliev for cheating, fraudulent use of external programs, and additional devices. As a result, s1mple couldn't perform at official tournaments sponsored by the American computer game developer Valve. The player explained that he was banned for his folly. One time, for the sake of entertainment, he showed a friend how to play with cheats in Counter-Strike version 1.6. And back then, he didn't know that he would become a professional player. This really ruined s1mple's reputation. He was banned even from scrimmages. He would pay to come back, but his account would get banned again. The victories of the talented esports player were attributed to the use of cheats, and the organizers were not convinced by videos of him playing. Only by playing outside his homeland at house meetings, he proved that the secret behind his victories was talent and skill. But Oleksandr did not despair and continued to participate in other competitions. In September 2014, s1mple joined Hellraisers and helped the team get into the top 8 at DreamHack Winter 2014. By the way, Majors are considered the most prestigious Counter-Strike competitions. During that period, s1mple started streaming and managed to ruin his reputation again by stealing skins from other players for fun. However, over time he apologized, but it left a bad taste. Even though Kostyliev was considered one of the strongest players on the team, after 5 months, he left Hellraisers for several reasons. Firstly, the majors were organized by ESL, the same organization that banned s1mple. After learning about his attempt to circumvent the ban, they extended it until 2016. Also, his toxicity didn't go away. During one of the matches, Oleksandr crossed the line by sending an offensive message to the Germans, so the organization decided to transfer the player to another team. After leaving Hellraisers in February 2015, Kostyliev moved to the DAT team, where Blade became his teammate again. After a while, the team began performing under the American organization Flipside Tactics. As part of the new team, Oleksandr managed to play against top teams from all over the world. But 2015 didn't bring success to the young esports player, as he missed the most prestigious tournaments due to the ban. In July of the same year, s1mple and his team went to Canada for a tournament in Montreal. Due to visa problems, one of the players could not go. As a result, he was replaced by the American esports player Spencer Martin, also known as Hiko. During the tournament, s1mple and Hiko became friends, which became a real sensation. In most games, the friends were at the top of the standings, but lost in the semifinals. After the defeat, Kostyliev quarreled and broke up with his teammates, blaming them for their team loss in the tournament. After that, he left the team, leaving an angry post on his social media. But the new friend Spencer Martin returned to America, where he began playing for Team Liquid. At that time, Oleksandr's studies at school came to an end. Leaving Flipside, Kostyliev said he planned to take a short break from tournaments and spend time on education. His parents, despite their son's good progress in esports, still dreamed that he would get a normal, in their opinion, profession. So after graduation, Oleksandr entered the Institute of Foreign Languages, where he studied to be a Chinese translator. However, the break turned out to be quite short, and a week later, Kostyliev started playing for the Evolution team. However, a month later he left the team and began to play for worse players. He would also sometimes help his former teams Flipside and Hellraisers. By that time, Oleksandr had managed to play for almost every Ukrainian team except for one, the top one, Navi, where no one would invite him. But he didn't despair, and in January 2016, made a fateful decision. One evening, he told his parents that he was dropping out of college after just one semester and moving to Los Angeles, where his friend Hiko had invited him to play for Team Liquid. A month later, the ban was lifted, and he could freely participate in majors. At the MLG Columbus 2016 tournament, his first major with Team Liquid, s1mple reached the semifinals, but the team couldn't win. Kostyliev, who dreamed of winning the main tournament, suffered a painful defeat. At 18, he could have become the youngest winner in the history of the majors. During the time spent in the USA, s1mple didn't address his main problem, team conflicts. After moving to Team Liquid, Oleksandr immediately quarreled with some of the teammates, was dissatisfied with the captain, and got into hot water with Latin American esports fans. Perhaps Hiko remained s1mple's only friend in America. The guys were constantly streaming together, and during tournaments, they emotionally supported each other. They even had their own shtick. Sometimes, they played as s1mple Hikovic and Hiko s1mplevich. Even though being in the USA offered the best conditions and a high management level, it was morally difficult for Oleksandr to stay there. The young man missed home and relatives, so after 4 months, he decided to give up everything and return to Ukraine. At home, he started playing for worse players, but a month later, he returned to the States. One of the players left Team Liquid, and s1mple still had a contract with the American organization. So he was announced as a replacement for 2 tournaments, one of which was the major ESL one, Cologne 2016. In the quarterfinals, Kostyliev met the strongest CIS team, Navi, who he defeated 2-1. But in the end, his team took second place, while s1mple was named the star of the tournament because in one of the matches, he had one of the brightest highlights.
Smokes. You see a double smokes in the same place there. s1mple just jumping casually into the side. He's going to fall down again. What is this clutch from s1mple? Are you serious? What is that? You can't do that, s1mple. That's not allowed. This is not FPL. This is a major.
In a recent interview, Oleksandr said that this event is still the best in his career. After the tournament, the game developers decided to capture this moment by creating graffiti at the event site, and s1mple got a tattoo. After such success, Team Liquid tried with all its might to keep Kostyliev on the team, but in August 2016, he signed a contract with the Ukrainian team, Navi, where he dreamed of playing since childhood. Oleksandr is still grateful to Team Liquid, which taught him discipline and restraint, but only in Navi, he really feels comfortable for the first time in his career. As part of the new team, s1mple won a tournament in New York in October 2016, and in December, he was awarded the Best Player of 2016, according to Red Bull Gaming. Kostyliev also became the MVP and took 4th place among the 20 best esports players of the year, according to HLTV.org. The following year turned out to be difficult for Oleksandr. Even though the team was one of the favorites of the major, it was already eliminated in the quarterfinals. In the next tournament, it didn't even make the playoffs. In 2018, there were rumors that the company SK planned to buy out Oleksandr and his colleague, Yegor Vasilev. According to insider data, the deal amount would have amounted to $1 million. However, it never went through. In the autumn of the same year, Navi came to the major in London, where they effortlessly reached the final but lost to the Astralis team, who at that time had no equals. At the same time, s1mple collected all individual awards, including becoming the best esports player of 2018. But this was not enough for the ambitious gamer. His main dream was a team win at a major, so he began to train even more. In February 2019, at the IAM Katowice major held in Poland, Navi was defeated 2-1, losing in the semifinals to the Finnish team ENCE.
Jungle, watch it, because he's got the lineup s1mple. He doesn't have the time. He's got to go to the AK and get the kill. This guy is on another level. He's going to have time to put the bullet down. And X7, he knows he's in rotation to flash out. He's got the information. He's got just enough. He goes back to the AWP, but he's not going to call it.
Alexander promised to return and win that tournament. In the spring of 2019, Alexander began dating Katerina Rudenka, a fashion designer for Navi. Interestingly enough, many fans of the sniper hated the girl because they thought she distracted him from training and spoiled statistics. s1mple did not remain indifferent and stood up for Katerina, saying that he still trained about 10 hours a day and his beloved supported him. The couple's relationship was really heartwarming, but friendly rather than romantic. So after a year and a half, Alexander and Katerina broke up, realizing that they didn't love each other. In March 2020, Kostyliev had a great opportunity to raise the cup at the IAM Katowice 2020 tournament in Poland. Although this tournament, unlike last year, no longer had the status of a major, Navi defeated the French team G2 with the score of 3-0. Along with the cup, the team took $250,000. And Alexander was named the MVP of the tournament.
Perfecto and s1mple. He needs a multi-kill. First found. Twist aggressing. They have to double peek. He's getting his shots. He's hitting another one. s1mple. No, s1mple. That's unbelievable. What in his name? Number one in the game. He's done it again.
At the end of 2020, people found out about Kostyliev's relationship with streamer Irina Bernikova, known as Arignan. They started talking because of streams, and during one of these meetings, they kissed live. In early 2021, the couple broke up but soon began dating again. For some time, the lovers even lived together, but they would constantly break up and make up until they finally parted in the autumn of the same year. In November 2021, s1mple's dream finally came true, and his team won PGL Major Stockholm 2021. For this, the best player needed 10 attempts. After the victory, s1mple rejoiced the most and even cried because this was the most important moment in his career.
Keep your eyes on Perfecto and s1mple. Plucks Jax from the pack. It's a hard clear to P5 there and straight through the corner. 3-4 from s1mple. This is his world. We're just living in it, looking good for the 6th, and they don't lose a single play. Look.
By the way, the coach of the team was the same Blade who played a crucial role in Kostyliev's life. Navi went down in history as the only team to win the main Counter-Strike tournament without losing a single map. The tournament itself became the most viewed major event. In the grand final, peak viewership was 2.5 million people. At the end of the year, s1mple was named the MVP of the tournament and the best esports player, and the Navi team took $1 million home. Having fulfilled his dream, Alexander does not plan to stop and has already set himself a new goal. In the next 10 years, he plans to become a coach. He also wants to boost esports in Ukraine to the highest level. Now the Ukrainian is in Portugal, where he is preparing for new tournaments. Taking advantage of his popularity, the esports athlete, together with colleagues, including ones from Russia, pays special attention to the political situation in the world, urging Putin and Russians who support his position to come to their senses. To do this, the esports player made a video on social media. By the way, 1.6 million people follow Alexander on Instagram, while 3 million followers watch his streams on Twitch. In the first days of the war, Kostyliev raised more than $50,000 to give to the army of Ukraine. Today Alexander is a millionaire, although he started off small. Playing for the Courage Gaming team, he earned $300 a month, and after moving to the States, in Team Liquid, his salary increased to $3,500 a month. When he returned to his homeland as part of Navi, he received $7,000 monthly. But when the team was in the top 3, the salary increased to $15,000 a month. According to some reports, in recent years, Kostyliev has been receiving $40,000 per month. Last year alone, Alexander earned more than $1.5 million, which included salary, prize money, sponsorship contracts, and income from streams. The gamer is also a co-founder of his brother's company, Ninja Sushi. Alexander is a long-term ambassador of AMD processors. He also gets royalties for an exclusive character with his appearance in the game Raid Shadow Legends. Interestingly, he gives the money he earns to his parents, leaving himself only the necessary amount. Even though s1mple has secured the title of the most confrontational gamer, outside the game, he makes the best impression, being an open and positive person. Alexander bought a huge country house for his parents and an apartment for himself in Kiev, which is now empty. The apartment has a spacious living room, a small bedroom, a bathroom, a dressing room, and most importantly, a room for streams. In 2021, Oleksandr bought a Porsche Taycan Turbo S worth about $200,000. Previously, he drove an Audi A5. Also, he presented a BMW X3 car worth about $100,000 to his father. s1mple's path to the title of Major Champion was not easy. He went through many setbacks, but still managed to become the best of the best. What do you think is the secret to his success? If you liked the video, leave a like and also subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss anything interesting.